Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Queen Studios quarter scale statue unboxing and review video. Now today we're taking a look at technically my first comic book piece, but at the same time it's not really. Now, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon and join button for more info on Justin's Collection Plus, the channel membership. Now, you may at this point in the review be sitting there thinking, Justin, what the heck are you smoking? This is very clearly a Wonder Woman statue based off the likeness of Gal. We saw it in that pic right there, it's not a comic piece. Well, I thought the same thing, but not Queen Studios. They are billing this as a comic book Wonder Woman. That's because she does come with a separate bust featuring a comic book head sculpt, which means the sneaky devils over at Queen Studios, that's right, I see you all over there, they have been very clever. They've cast a much wider net, meaning if you're a Wonder Woman film fan, this piece could technically be for you. If you're a Wonder Woman comic book fan, then this piece could also be for you. It's just way more versatile, and for me, that's definitely a good thing. I love having more options wherever possible, and this figure absolutely delivers on that. Now, starting off with the display base first, there is a lot to look at here. Because the pose for Wonder Woman is so incredibly dynamic, the display base had to be also suitably dynamic. There is a pillar that's toppled over, it's crushed and is cracking as rocks are flying up around Wonder Woman. You also have the remnants of a statue with the body at the back and the head around the front. It's something that I absolutely love. It's very nicely sculpted. It's really nicely painted. You've got that Wonder Woman logo around the perimeter. Multiple of those logos, of course. It's not just the one. Plus that gold trim. And all of the stonework actually looks like real stone. There is chipping, there is cracking, there are torn away sections, plus there's washes and also some dry brushing. As I said, it very closely resembles stone. Now, for me, I didn't really know what to expect because I've never had a statue quite like this from Queen. All of the pieces that I've reviewed from them have been relatively static poses. But this just goes to show, just like the statue itself, they can be very versatile. I know, very corny, I apologize, but it's true. It shows that they have a really good range, and going forward I would love to see more pieces from them in dynamic poses. It's one of the biggest reasons why I advocate for statues is because they're not going to crack and degrade over time like, say for instance, a 1/6 scale Wonder Woman figure with a rubber body. So statues are the perfect format to give us these crazy, more elaborate dynamic poses. Back to the statue herself though, as we pan up the leg you can see a couple of things. How well the armor is sculpted and painted, it's nice and metallic, there is some airbrushing and there are washes, there's pitting and scratching. And also the texture for her skin. There is a decent level of it, plus, just like the armor, although obviously this is skin so it's a little bit different, it's really well painted. Now, the lasso which you're seeing wrapped around her wasn't really all that easy to do. It's a real wire, it's nice and sparkly, it's ethereal, it looks like a lasso of truth that Wonder Woman would use. However, you do have to sit down and thread it through her hands and make the loops yourself. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, and if I had one complaint, it would be the lasso. I don't know how else they would have been able to get it done, but it definitely is a chore if you're sitting down and swapping out the pieces. Say for instance one day you want to have her with the sword and shield, well, it's going to take you some time to undo the lasso. And then if you want to put it back on, it's going to take you an equal amount of time, if not a little bit more, to thread it all the way back around. But, in its defense, when you do all that work, it looks incredible. It's super dynamic, it adds to the pose, and even though I do like the sword and shield, which we will discuss, the lasso is just way more iconic, at least for me. You know what? I'm gonna call it here and now. This already is one of my favorite Wonder Woman pieces ever. The skin texture, the musculature, it looks so darn realistic. Plus, the way it's painted, it comes together beautifully. Now, this is my favourite of the two head sculpts. It's the Gal Gadot likeness, and I absolutely see it here. With the flowing locks, the furrowed brow, and the movie tiara, yeah, I'm a huge fan. You do get an entirely separate bust featuring the comic-inspired head sculpt. And yes, we will be trying this out on the statue a little bit later. She still has the black flowing locks, the tiara, although this time it's much more vibrant with the red star up the front. You also have some blue eyes. As I said, it's comic inspired, it's something a little different. I love the way they've painted the skin texture, you've got some shading and even some vein work. The armor itself is identical to the Gal bust, and that's perfectly fine with me. You also have this strap, which is a separate floating piece, and it does have a very nice, classic Wonder Woman symbol down below. You also get a stand for this bust, because if you're not using it on the statue, where the heck are you going to display it? Well, you're going to display it on this. Around the back, it has a Queen Studios logo and another one down below. I'm fairly certain this is made of metal because it does feel relatively hefty. So in the display, even if you have this bust fully posed up with the sword and shield, yeah, I don't think it's going to topple over. Speaking of the sword and shield, these should look relatively familiar, because they're the weapons she used in Wonder Woman 1. The sword is the God Killer, and it looks awesome. I really like the detail on the blade, and it's made of real metal. It is permanently attached to her grip, but you can rotate it left and right if you want to adjust it ever so slightly. The shield itself is also pre-attached to the hand, so it only goes in one way, but that's perfectly fine with me. I like the sculpting, it's super crisp, and there is even some pitting on the surface, although it's a little bit more subtle. I'm actually really glad I got to film this review and try out the different variations, cause in my display, once the lasso is back in her hands, I am never taking it out again. I know I've complained about it once already, but it's a darn pain to remove and install. That being said, when you do remove it and you give her the God Killer sword, this looks awesome. I am really tempted to display her just like this. The pose works really nicely here, even though I'm fairly certain it was designed with the lasso in mind. The sword behind her, yeah, I love it. Now, the reason I don't love the shield is because it kind of blocks the head sculpt entirely, especially from the front, which means you have to display her on an angle, and for me, I don't really want to do that. So the sword and shield, even though I like them, I'm probably just going to display on the comic-inspired bust. Speaking of the comic-inspired bust, though, here we have it on the statue with the two closed fists, and I cannot get over how dope this looks. Now, I love the sword, I love the shield, as we've already discussed, you're probably sick of hearing me say it, the lasso is awesome, but not having anything, it just goes to show how powerful Wonder Woman really is. She doesn't need any weapons, although when you do add them back onto the statue, yeah, it also looks awesome here too. I'm having a real tough time deciding which way I want to go in my display. If you have a preference, please help me out, let me know which is your preferred option down in the comments below. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have quarter-scale Wonder Woman alongside quarter-scale Darkseid. Now technically Wonder Woman is a comics piece and Darkseid isn't, but at the same time with that Gal Gadot head sculpt, I would just go ahead and say this is Wonder Woman based off her appearance in Justice League. So if you wanted to display these two together, yeah, you absolutely could. And for me, I'm very tempted to do just that. If you have Wonder Woman displayed in front of Darkseid or even right next to him, it just goes to show how big he is, and because she's so low, she's not going to block anything. Just wrapping up on Wonder Woman in quarter scale by Queen Studios. This might just be one of my new favorite pieces from the company. They have nailed it. I love the lasso. I love the sword and shield. It's real metal for the sword. That is a very nice touch. The pose is incredibly dynamic. There is something to look at on the display base. On Wonder Woman, there's texture, there's detail, there's metallic paint applications, there's shading. I can go on and on. If you have this piece coming in, get very excited. The likeness to Gal is definitely there. Plus, even though the skin tone is slightly more saturated, I think it works for an Amazonian warrior like Diana. And the best part of this statue is if you're a comic book Wonder Woman fan or a film Wonder Woman fan, you have the option for both. With the swap out bust, the multiple different accessories, there are a ton of different options, and that makes me very happy. Now, like I said in the intro, I got mine from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and a points-based reward system. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button for more info on Justin's Collection Plus if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Also, a massive thank you goes out to my buddy Slam Collections on Insta for coming over and helping me film this statue. I've popped the link to his channel down in the description below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.